Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. This is the Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games in a hunt for the best score of the Decathlon. If you like what you see, remember to hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is F1 2018. It's week 1 in the second year of the Game Decathlon competition. And this is my first race, though second week, with a new racing wheel. And you can see right off the bat as Hamilton goes around just how slow I am compared to how I should be, as I'm still growing used to the wheel. I've done some trial runs, last week especially, and not much otherwise. Continuing on here with FP1. Continue to struggle, mostly to find time and to keep the balance of the car. So I'm getting a lot of oversteer through a lot of turns, and I've tried to fix that in the car setup, but haven't quite gotten it how it needs to be. Here I'm finally actually keeping a decent time, but now I'm failing the program in the other way. And there you can see where I get that oversteer. A lot of it's getting on the gas too early, coming out of turns. Again, it was there. I saved it that time, but it threw me way off my line.
That lap was no good. We needed
Failed miserably in both ways. Try again. Oof. Again, it just snaps free on me so easy. I'm going to try to adjust the car setup. Head back to the garage. We'll try again.
great stuff. You pretty much nailed this circuit. This is a really...
As time wraps up here on Free Practice 2, I've gone back into track acclimatization, just squeezing purple by the exact amount. I did get ERS, but also barely getting it. I'm definitely going to be off pace for this race. Fuel management, still green. There's no way I'm going to get that one. And in Free Practice 3, I'm going to need to work on race strategy and qualifying pace, hopefully getting at least green. We've got 225 points so far, and we'll check in here on the times at the end of Free Practice session number 2.
Remind ourselves of the top 3, who are Ricciardo, Hamilton and Max Verstappen. That concludes an interesting practice session. Let's hope for more excitement as the weekend unfolds.
This time Sorokin does go faster, but it's only by a 1/10 of a second. Van Dorn and Leclerc are both down there, as is Hartley. Once you get up to Ocon and above, the times seem to jump by a fair amount. So I'll definitely be fighting the back of the grid in this race from the looks of things here in practice. As I come towards the end of Free Practice number 3, I've got 20 points left on the table, but I'm not too worried about those. Pretty good session, getting a lot closer to where I need to be. Wheel-wise, a lot more comfortable, able to push a lot harder through certain areas, and I'm not losing it. And I don't feel like I'm on the edge either, and I'm starting to get better time. I'm definitely close to a second a lap faster than what I was before, and comfortable. Qualifying looks like it will be dry. Early on, it's going to get cloudy, which means the track temperature is going to drop, air temperature is going to drop. That could slow things down, but I don't think I'm going to be alive long enough, as that seems to be setting in somewhere around the 20-minute mark. I'm probably not going to get out of the first session, and we are looking dry for the race. Let's go ahead and wrap up the final practice session here. We'll see where we're at on time before heading into qualifying. Feels like the beginning of my career again, now with the racing wheel instead of using the gamepad. Big difference, and I'm certainly uncomfortable.
As all the cars are now over
I'm getting there, and wow, that was third fastest on my qualifying lap there.
Thank you for joining us for free practice today. We'll be back with more Formula One action very shortly.
It's a second off Vettel's pace, but more and more I am finding some pace. My problem is the consistency. I'm still spinning out from time to time. I still put it into the wall from time to time. I did have to use a number of flashbacks during practice to stop crashes. Now, FP3, I think I only had to do that about once, but I still use a couple flashbacks here and there. So, you know what? Actually, I think I only used one flashback in all of FP3. So can I find that consistency in the race? I seem to be finding it more and more, as long as I don't push too hard. Finding the pace without pushing it crazy hard. So we will see. Why don't I have you stick with me? We will go straight into qualifying. And instead of driving out, we'll go straight onto the hot lap to save some time on that part. Here we are on resource points. Another 165, and that's now 771 points. At the end of FP2, I did have the team reputation build a little bit. No change here in the third practice. Okay, upcoming session, 2 clean races. And the car's good to go. Last time out, because I knew I was going to be starting 20th, I put on a full new engine. Had like 68 grid penalties to get that extra one.
Here we are at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya for the start of today's qualifying session. It won't be long now until we're ready to join the action down at trackside. Looking at this field today, Ant, do you think we're going to see anyone take a chance? Maybe run the harder of the available compounds and save some of the grippy tyres for the race tomorrow? Well, I'd be
Yeah, I don't think so. Not here. Let's go ahead and get to it. No change to conditions. I am okay with the setup, finally. We'll go straight into a flying lap here. This right here is my most difficult, is Sector 3, first right here, and I've only turned it around once in all of practice there, but the exit from the hairpin, I've actually had some problems with that. And the exit here of the chicane, I've spun it around quite a few times coming out of there. So that's the real worry for the race. Alright, and here we go. Spun it here a few times. Ooh, I nearly did there. And that's going to be a slow start there. I'm a few tenths off from where I should be. Okay through the second and third sequence. Good through there. Good through there. That's another place where that crest, I've spun it out there a few times. Okay through there so far. And I've spun it out on that crest. No. Nope. Woo-hoo-hoo. That was close. Almost spun it. Hitting that curb. I've never really hit that curb there. 2.2 seconds off the pace to Ricardo. We'll see. I think that's a little slower than I should be. Probably 4 or 5 tenths. So I'm going to head back into the garage. And we'll see where we're at on time. Alright, 0.3 of a second up as I come to the hairpin. And now a lot more time gained. But I lost a bit there with some massive oversteer.
We have 2 laps of fuel remaining.
So I gained over a second on that lap and still left some time out there. It does move you up a little bit, P18 at this point, and we are going to continue straight on into lap number 2 because I did have some mistakes in there. Coming around on this second lap, I've got another 0.4 of a second gained. I lose a bit of that here. So potential 0.3 of a second though. Half a second nearly. That extra lap, pick up another 0.4. That moves me up to P16, and it's still behind my teammate by the smallest of margins. Alright, so I get to the end of Q1. Max Verstappen is fastest. Alonso is third. Sainz is up there. You can see Vettel went on the softs. Ricardo went on the softs. Hamilton went on the softs. Bottas as well. Back markers, we did not. We fought it out all on super softs. We were all going for it. Ericsson back the grid, Hartley behind him, and I'm in P18, just behind my teammate, less than 0.1 of a second behind. As Sorokin's P17, Van Dorn with a surprising P16, and Gasly and Leclerc both just getting out. So that'll be P18 for the race. As I get ready to enter the race weekend, here's my objectives. I'm simply just going for the contract objectives this time out, not really looking for anything better as I'm still getting used to the steering wheel. So based on that, expected race position is 18th. That's my target. And the team goal of a clean race. So those are the two things that I am after, even if that means driving at the back and hoping that 2 cars DNF. Very well could be the case. But let's go ahead and get to it and see what happens. There's about 3 spots on this track where you crest, and I have a tendency to, once in a while, every 4 or 5 laps, lose it.
From a very familiar setting. It's race day here in Spain, and with everything still to play for in the championship battle, there's no room for mistakes in a Grand Prix that's well known for creating them. It's a sellout crowd of 140,000 here today as we await lights out for the 730-metre sprint down to Turn 1 of this 2.9-mile racetrack. Overtaking is challenging through these 16 corners, but there's still a lot of high-speed excitement to be found, including the flat-out turn 3 and the terrifying blind right of turn 9. We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Ricciardo, Valtteri Bottas, and Raikkonen, Hülkenberg, Perez, Grosjean, and Kevin Magnussen. Sainz, Alonso, Charles Leclerc, and Ocon. Gasly, Van Dorn, Sergei Sirotkin, and the Professor, Hartley, and Marcus Ericsson rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
0 penalties on grid. That is shocking. I'm going to go ahead and flip the strategy, though I am a little nervous that I'm not going to have enough pace here. Let's see what happens if we change this up. Let's go 10 and 7, even though it says it'll be slower. Fuel was a difficult one for me. I'm going to go ahead and add a little more. We'll get to 1+ lap. And with that, we are ready to go from P18 on the grid. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing myself drop to P20 after the start, because I want a clean race and I'm having a hard enough time keeping the car on the track myself. I'm finding okay pace now with the wheel, but I'm still not keeping it on the track consistently enough for my liking. So this race is definitely making me nervous, and with only one flashback at my disposal, it could be a short day. With that, we're going to put up 5 red lights here in Catalonia in Spain for the Spanish Grand Prix. And here's the lights. They're up, and they're up there a long time, and they're out. Oh! Well, there you go. I waited so long that I ended up too hard on the gas at the start, and ended up putting myself sideways. Hartley straightened me back out. Luckily, there is no damage to my car, and if I'm really lucky, Hartley is going to pit. Kind of like being here in P20 because I don't have to worry about getting hit. I'm not going to push that one as much as I did in practice. Well, there goes my one flashback, as I should have known. Hairpin. Come on. Hairpin turn first lap. Should have been prepared for that, but I was not. And now I'm out of flashbacks already on lap number 1. Hartley did not pit, by the way, so that means...
Okay, keep on him. Might make a mistake.
That means it's P20 that I'm going to have to outrace somebody or hope for incidents later in the race. No lap 1 casualties. Everyone has made it through. I was the closest thing there was to a lap 1 casualty. Or maybe not even DRS. Ooh, and I get the DRS because I was behind him. That should seal the pass. Whoa. Braking zone way too late there. There comes Hartley. He's got a huge run on me. Something's wrong. I'm slow. Not just... Oh, and Hartley lights it up. And he and I come together again for a second time. I feel like I've got a problem. Maybe just the washout from being behind Hartley. That could be what it is. But I felt like I had a problem when he was behind me.
Reduce the ERS deployment.
Coming back up on Hartley after a couple mistakes opened the gap up a bit. Definitely faster than him, but I keep getting washout. Ah, come on.
Be careful with the front wing. You've taken some minor damage. Okay, take it easy on the car. We can't sustain this level of damage. Check your MFD for a new strategy option.
And here comes the first group of cars pitting. The sad thing is I'm still right to the back of the grid, even with all these cars pitting, so I'm pretty much out of contention for anything but 19th at this point. So hopefully I can get 19th and get at least one car to DNF so that we can at least grab that 18th position that is required. To avoid contact, I have to back off, and instead it gets Perez the invitation to go by. And right back to the back of the grid, where it was before. Just got a touch from Ocon there. Tried to give him an inside room, but he never got up beside me.
Let's turn up the ERS deployment and burn some of this energy. DRS will be offline. There's a fault with the rear wing system. Stay out. We can work on a fix remotely.
So DRS failure.
Sergey is in the pits. Sergey in the pits.
Woo! I just turned myself around and I can't get back in gear. So I got into neutral there, and it just sent the rear end right around.
You'll be on the super softs.
Hartley went into the pits. Hartley is in the pits. At a surprising point. Lap 8 does not seem like a time to go into the pits. He must be switching strategies here because of the wing. Maybe he took additional damage from what he already had. So I'm liking being on my own here. Finally running clean. I've made so many mistakes and lost so much time in this race. Unnecessary things. It feels good to finally be running representative times.
Box. We're coming in this lap.
Alright, I'm going to turn up the engine mode for a little bit here, as I would like a quick in lap. I'd also not like to crash there at turn 2 though.
Is lapping faster than us by around 1 second per lap.
Oh, that's not good. Uh-oh. Hit the apex too tight. Not the bollard.
We need to push now. Set ERS deployment to overtake. ERS to overtake. Hit now. Hit now.
Okay. Turn that down. Turn that on overtake. Oh, I'm getting a new wing? Why am I getting a new wing? There was barely any damage to it. I didn't want that extra 4 seconds. I guess that will make me a little faster here, though.
Pit strategy complete. See these tires through to the end now.
Okay, the big question, though, is how far behind am I to Hartley? 9 seconds down. 9 seconds down to Hartley. That is a big margin to get back. And at this point, it looks like the only way I get above 20th is if someone DNFs.
Gap to car in front is 8.2 seconds.
Alright, I am gaining on Hartley. Picked up more than a second that lap. Of course, I was on overtake and I'm not now.
Gap to teammate ahead is 33.9 seconds.
Here on the penultimate lap. No DNFs. So I remain in 20th position. I've also not been consistent enough. I've made a few too many mistakes here and there, but much better than where it was when I first started this venture here in Catalonia. So I've certainly improved. I did exceed my flashbacks though. I didn't take the DNF. I'm going for the practice. I went over by 2. So I've used 3 flashbacks in this race, which used to be allowable. So I would not be eligible for points today, but I'm not going to get points anyway. After I'm in last place, so consider it practice.
This is your final lap of the race.
I remain just 7 seconds behind Hartley. Vettel just finished the race, so I nearly got lapped. Tires are starting to go. Near the crash there. And again, the oversteer. Tires are falling off. I did 1 extra lap on these.
Okay, some information on Raikkonen.
Raikkonen out of the race.
Car issue. Looks like they're retiring.
Can I get a position, or is that after the start-finish line? Come on, give me 1 position. Boy, I'm so...
Fuel now. The tank is empty. The gap to the car ahead is 8.6 seconds.
I'm getting so loose here on this lap, though. Hopefully I'm almost done. And no, I will not get Raikkonen. So his DNF came after the finish line. When I run out of fuel just before the finish line.
And bring it home.
So last place, not a good place to be. But I ran okay. And I ran competitive times. But I had far too many mistakes in the first, say, 4 laps, 5 laps. That pushed me further back, cost me at least 30 or 40 seconds of time.
Looking after the tyres, but at the end of it all, if you want to win, you need a package that's got the speed over everyone else, and that's exactly what they had today.
Jean picks up the point for Haas.
Out onto the podium.
Vettel with the win. Hamilton's second. Bottas is third.
The prancing horse flags are dominant in the grandstands, and they're out in force again today. It's Ferrari on the top step once more. And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. It's a good result for Lewis Hamilton, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. And now I'd like to ask you, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
I think it has to be Sergei Sorokin. You know, good on the tyres, some nice passes. I can't really think of anyone who caught my eye more today.
And here's how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship.
So close.
The lead at the top comes down after a strong weekend from the challenging pack. After all this drama, you'd be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.
The craziness on the final lap drops me a few seconds further behind, which means I was 117 heading into that final lap. 117 down, and you can see lap times for Vettel, his best. Well, final lap, probably somewhere right around a 121 or a 122, so he was just 5 seconds behind me. I was on the verge of getting a blue flag. But Vettel gets a win, Hamilton second, Bottas third, Raikkonen finishes fourth despite some sort of failure as he crossed the line. Ricciardo fifth, Verstappen sixth, Sainz, Hülkenberg, Perez, and Grosjean, and my teammate all the way up into 11th place, but still no points for him in 2 seasons. Hamilton does lead the championship, but Vettel moves up ahead of Raikkonen into second. There's a 34-point gap between them. Bottas down in 4th, with Verstappen in 5th. Ricciardo all the way down in 8th, but he does pick up some decent points today. And in the Constructors, we remain on that solitary point, but Toro Rosso has not scored either. And Mercedes is 30 points ahead of Ferrari at the top of the table. Red Bull emerging a little bit now in 3rd, but they are definitely not as dominant as they are used to being. But that's going to do it for this episode. I'm relieved I survived, but again, like I said, I did use 3 flashbacks instead of my limit of 1. So, in all honesty, I would have finished more than a lap down. I did not crash on any of those, so I would not have DNF'd, but I would have finished a lot further behind than I did. But again, that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer, and remember, I'm aiming for the best of the best. So if you're ready to join me on my journey, hit subscribe, and tune in next time on my Road to the Record.
Luck out there today. What do you think went wrong?
It wasn't the cleanest race today, was it?
Your battle got a bit heated, didn't it? That was a close finish. How are things between the two of you? Appreciate your time.